Okay, in talking with our customers, they tell us that there are several factors that impact and affect their rental process. Okay, and when I say several, I mean many. But we're going to talk about some of the more common ones here. All right, the first that seems to bubble up is that of decentralization. Okay, while decentralization is a necessary element of the way we all go to market today, it does present its own set of challenges to the equipment rental process. Okay, and then the other thing that we hear a lot about is systems. There seem to be a multitude of systems that are used within an entity to manage the equipment rental process, to keep track of everything. Okay, we know that there are many different vendors that are required to meet your equipment rental needs, and when you multiply that by the number of plants you have, that number gets fairly significant. Okay, there are many employees that are usually involved in the management of equipment rental and the tracking of the information that goes along with that, right? And then finally, there are many different crafts that require the right tools and equipment at the right place at the right time for the right duration. Okay, so when you factor all this stuff together, you got multiple locations, you got multiple systems, you have multiple vendors, you have multiple employees, and you have multiple crafts. That's a lot of stuff, right? So how does having all that stuff in your rental process affect your plant? Well, simply put, it affects it like this. Too much, too long, and too complex. When you have this much stuff going on, it's almost inevitable that you're going to have more equipment on site than you really need. It's a part of the process. Likewise, with too long, we already talked about 1/4 of your stuff stays out 15 days longer on average than you originally anticipated it, right? And the reality is that the process that goes into managing this is far too complex. There's too many moving pieces, and it takes a lot of energy to manage that. So what does that really mean to our plant? Well, for starters, we're spending too much money, right? We're spending too much time to manage the process, and frankly, the folks that are in charge of this chaos are our most valued entities or most valued assets are our highly skilled employees. They're not being as productive as they need to be because they're tying up too much time and money into this process. Okay, and this affects them negatively, both by not being productive, but also they're not as happy as they should be. Right. So when you tie all this together, I like to call this the pyramid of pain, but officially we call this a very fragmented, reactive process. Oh, with the G out. There it is. There's the G. Reactive process. But really what this is more than just a fragmented reactive process. This is a problem for you guys. And it puts your company at risk. Puts your company at risk for excuse me. It puts your company at risk from achieving your desired future state, or more accurately, from not achieving that. Okay, not knowing how this impacts the trajectory of your business is a problem, and it's a big risk for you guys. We would all like our trajectory to go up and out, right? But the reality is, due to this process slowing you down, it's keeping you from where you want to go, and it is creating a crooked trajectory for you. All right? So, how do most companies today deal with this trajectory? And this problem, I should say. Well, the reality is, it seems like the easiest lever for most companies to pull is the price lever. Right? We always go straight to price. We're looking at, hey, if this unit is $1,000 over here and it's $1,050 over here, if I move this way, I'm saving $50, which is great. And if I can, get some favorable terms, then I'm saving some money that way as well, which is also great. Okay, that's great. The reality, however, is studies have shown that pulling the price lever only has 1/6 the financial impact of actually addressing these issues of too much, too long, and too complex. Okay, it gets me 1/6 of the way across my pit to my desired future. Okay, and if I'm standing here on the edge, after doing my best to manage price, and I want to get this way, where do I go from here? Well, if I keep going in the direction I'm going, I end up at the bottom of the pit, right? Okay, so what do? How do we circumvent that? Well, companies are choosing to partner with RSE because they realize that they need to find a better way of doing things than this. This is not working for them, and they realize that the equipment management process affects their overall employee productivity, it affects their overall employee engagement, and it affects the likelihood of a successful outcome in most of their projects. It's that significant of an issue. Okay? So they realize that they need to change their strategy and find another way to get to their future. And they realize, too, that RSC is uniquely positioned to help them do that. Okay? To help them achieve their organizational goals. So let's see what that looks like, shall we? Okay. So we're going to build a bridge over the too much, too long, too complex pit. And we're going to try and achieve some very measurable goals. Okay? The first goal that we have is that of increased visibility and accountability. Okay. What if your team had true insight into the equipment rental process? And what if they had the ability to custom tailor that process to dovetail perfectly with your organization's structure? Well, with RSC's Total Control software, you will have unparalleled visibility into the equipment rental process. And you will also have the functionality to optimize that process to line up perfectly against your company's structure. Okay? What will this do for you? This will enable you guys to reduce redundancy and reduce the number of past due rentals that you have going back, saving you guys a significant amount of money, right? The other thing it'll do for you is if you subscribe to the RC Management by Exception strategy, you will have actionable data that comes from criteria that you have set for us to improve your process and make the best possible equipment rental decisions for your company. Okay? Excuse me. All right, so the second goal that we're going to try to achieve for you all is that of streamlined operations and processes. What if you had a true partner in helping manage your equipment fleet more efficiently? And what if that partner was an expert in their field? Well, with RSC's managed services, you have access to a dedicated resource that will be intimately familiar with the operation of your company and its processes. And their primary focus will be to make sure that you have the right tools and equipment at the right place at the right time, and that it's gotten there most efficiently, positively affecting your utilization. And moreover, not only will there be a partner to help you drive efficiency, but there will be a partner in helping you drive safety for your plant to make sure that your employees go home the same way they came in the morning. Would that be of interest to you guys? Would that be helpful if you had somebody who's an expert at managing equipment, they were intimately familiar with your operations and our operations, and they had your best interests at heart? Would that be a benefit? Probably, right? Okay, the third goal is that of improved cost controls and overall cost reduction. Okay, what if you had the right tools and the right strategy in place to significantly impact your organization's equipment costs and ROI? Well, with our customized scorecards and key performance indicators that are benchmarked to industry standards, you will have the ability to optimize to empower your people to optimize their performance, giving you these cost controls that you're looking for. Okay. Not only will you be